What if Dawn came back from a broken future, scarred and determined to stop the world from ending again? Hey everyone, this is TH Stories 80, where we narrate fanfiction audiobooks. Now we begin chapter 2 of Changing Fate. Let's dive in. The older Dawn was aware her mission wasn't over yet. In fact, it had just begun. One part of the future might have been changed, but now things had shifted drastically from the timeline she once knew. The danger posed by the trio was still very real, and dealing with them was meant to be her second task. It was a strategy she had discussed with Willow and Riley, one they both agreed with wholeheartedly. Dawn knew that Warren's alliance with Jonathan and Andrew had caused them all pain. Eventually, it would lead to Warren killing Tara, which in turn would trigger the Dark Willow incident. Dawn remembered the look on her lover's face, the way Willow turned away whenever her dark and evil self was mentioned. Willow was all too aware that Tara's death would bring about a near apocalypse, one she herself would cause, and once again it would be Xander who had to save them. Dawn refused to let that happen again. Then there were the smaller, more personal matters. Dawn's own private mission. During their last night together, she had told Willow she would do everything in her power to pull her away from the dark side of the magical world. Near the Sunnydale crater, 2026. I know becoming Dark Willow made you who you are, Dawn said, resting her head on the redhead's heaving chest while Willow ran her hand through her hair. But I never liked seeing you like that. Remember what happened when you took me to Rack's place? I remember, Willow whispered. She brushed her hand down the sweat-covered back of Dawn's neck, over the scars on her shoulder blades and back, then to the small of her back. That was my lowest point, ever. That was the day I hurt you. I'm going to kill Warren, Willow, Dawn said confidently, looking up into Willow's green eyes. I'm going to kill him, even if he hasn't done anything yet. Just like we agreed, Willow whispered, wiping the sweat from Dawn's forehead. Seeing you with Tara is going to, well, make me a little jealous, Dawn smirked. Willow grinned, but the smile faded when Dawn added that she would never interfere in their love life. But I'll still be jealous. I love you. You know that, right? Willow asked. I know. Dawn leaned down, kissed Willow on the lips for a few seconds, then pulled back. Her lips trembled before she looked away. I'm going to see Giles again, she whispered. And Xander, Anya, Tara, the younger you, Spike, and Buffy. Oh God, Willow, I'm going to see Buffy again. Yes you are, Donnie, Willow murmured. Dawn giggled. I'm going to see Buffy again. I'll stop her from jumping and she'll be alive. She laughed between breaths, and Willow joined in. They giggled for nearly a minute before calming down. She'll be alive. When I save my younger self, I'll see Buffy again, and I don't know what I'll do, Willow. I have no idea. You won't know until you get back to the past, Willow said softly. I'll hug her. I know I'll cry like a baby and I'll hug her, Dawn whispered. I'll hold on tight. You can tell them about what happened, you know? Willow suggested gently. Dawn nodded. Maybe leave out the part where we've been in a relationship for the past few years? Maybe, Dawn giggled, laying her head back on Willow's chest. Maybe I'll tell Buffy privately and ask her not to tell your younger self or Tara. I mean, that would be weird. But, oh my God, can you imagine the look on Buffy's face when she finds out her younger sister, who traveled back in time to save her younger self, is in a relationship with her best friend in the future, while my younger self is still 15. Buffy's head would explode and so don't tell her, Willow smirked. And honey, what you just said, it's enough to confuse anyone. I know, Dawn chuckled. She lifted her head to meet Willow's eyes again. Then help me make sense. We still have more time, and I'm not finished with you. You're like a rabbit tonight, Willow laughed. We were at it, really at it, for what? 2 hours? Dawn giggled. Take it easy, it's not like, Willow began. We're never going to see each other again? Dawn interrupted. The laughter stopped. Silence settled between them. They both knew this was the last time they would ever be together. Dawn lay against Willow's body again, her head resting in the crook of her neck. They held each other tightly. saying nothing while time slipped by. Look after yourself, Donnie, Willow whispered, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Get a new name, make a new life for yourself, and be happy. Find someone to love, and I don't think I ever can, Dawn whispered, resting her hand on Willow's cheek. I I don't know if I can. You will, Donnie, Willow murmured, rubbing the back of the former Key's head. You'll find someone, and you'll move on. But first, give Buffy a hug when you see her. Give her a hug for me, for Giles, Xander, Faith, Riley, for everyone who died. Give her a hug for all of us, and keep us with you. Always, Dawn whispered. Always. Junkyard, Sunnydale, 2001. Just as older Dawn had told Willow in the future, she now clung to Buffy in the present day, sobbing uncontrollably. She looked at the younger version of herself before closing her eye again. The younger Dawn shrugged before saying the older Dawn had saved her life from Doc. Doc was going to cut me if Glory couldn't do it herself, Dawn said, glancing toward the edge of the platform and shuddering at the thought of what could have happened. She looked at her older self, then back up at Buffy. She shot Doc after he pushed Spike off the platform, Buffy. But you're not cut anywhere, are you? Buffy asked. Dawn shook her head, explaining that her older self had been thorough when patting her down. As she listened to her older self sobbing, the younger Dawn wondered why she had traveled back in time. Had Doc succeeded? What happened after he did? Had hell come to Earth? She glanced at Buffy, who was looking down at older Dawn with concern. Young Dawn let her imagination wander. Maybe we are part of some resistance movement? Maybe things got so bad that I came back to this exact moment in time. I guess that could be it. Dawn? Buffy asked. The older girl, tears running down her cheeks, looked up at her sister. It was then that the younger Dawn realized Buffy was speaking to her older self. It suddenly occurred to her they would need different names for the two of them, or else it would get very confusing. The older Dawn lowered her head and wiped her eye with the back of her hand. Sniffling, she slowly got to her feet. Donnie, Buffy asked, studying her sister. Or older sister? No, it's definitely Dawn. But what happened to her? Why the scars and the eye patch? Buffy wondered. How bad could the future be for her to come back here? She said I was alive, which must mean, am I dead in her future? Does the portal open and I do something reckless? Is that why she came back? So many different scenarios had gone through Buffy's mind. This place is a bit unstable, Buffy, the older Dawn said, still wiping at her one good eye. We need to get out of here. You, me, and, well, me. She let out a brief, humorless chuckle as she looked at her younger self, then glanced away. I'll tell you and the others everything when we get home. I was cut, wasn't I? The younger Dawn asked, staring at her older counterpart. In your future, Doc was successful, wasn't he? Your blood, our blood, opened a portal, the older Dawn admitted, but we can talk about that later. Right now, we need to get home so I can brief you. We have a lot to discuss, Buffy. Dawn. A lot. Buffy nodded, taking the younger Dawn's hand and gently pulling her away. The older Dawn followed slowly down the stairs, hearing the Scoobies shouting from below. Buffy called out that she was fine and coming down. But as the older Dawn reached the landing, a sharp pain struck her chest. She stopped, clutching the railing while Buffy and the younger Dawn continued downward. Buffy, older Dawn whispered, dropping to one knee as her body began to heat up. Buffy turned at a thud sound and saw older Dawn on both knees, a strange green glow spreading across her body. Dawn? Buffy cried, alarmed. She rushed back up the stairs, telling the younger Dawn to stay put. Just as the older Dawn collapsed onto the landing, Buffy ordered the younger one to run to the lower levels and call for Giles. Go, she shouted. The younger Dawn hesitated, staring at her older self writhing in pain as green energy crackled all around her. Gritting her teeth, she spun and ran, yelling for Giles at the top of her lungs. Giles heard the shout echoing up the tower. He pushed past the mentally drained humans lying on the ground and rushed up the stairs, Willow close behind. Xander and Anya remained on the ground level with Tara, who had just regained her mind thanks to Willow. Dawn, Giles called, taking the steps 2 at a time. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream rang out, making the younger Dawn stop and look back. She heard her older self cry out, followed by Buffy's frantic voice calling for Giles. Heart racing, the younger Dawn turned and bolted back up the 5 levels. Giles was close behind, with Willow at his heels. "Buffy!" Willow shouted, stopping at a landing. Above her, Buffy was holding the older Dawn down as she convulsed violently. Giles and Willow reached her side, their eyes widening at the sight. "Giles!" Buffy cried. "Help me, please! She's—" A guttural sound tore from the older Dawn's throat. She stopped convulsing, but the green energy around her body flared brighter. It pulsed as if it was counting down to explode. Buffy glanced at her terrified younger sister, then back at the unconscious woman. She ran down a short flight to shield the younger Dawn with her arms. Giles and Willow covered their eyes as the energy condensed into a blinding flash of green light. When it faded, they looked up to see a pulsing ball of green energy hovering over the older Dawn's unmoving body. "What's that?" Buffy asked. The younger Dawn felt drawn to it, as if it were calling her. Then, without warning, the ball shot straight down through the tower and into the ground below, zipping past the slowly recovering Spike. They all stared at one another, stunned, while Dawn crept toward her older self. Seeing her chest rise and fall, she breathed in relief. Yet, she knew exactly what the energy had been. "That was the key," young Dawn said, turning to face Buffy and the others. "But," Giles began, glancing from the younger Dawn to the injured woman. Buffy rushed to check for a pulse, while Dawn knelt beside her. Willow stepped closer, her eyes flickering between the 2 Dawns. "Donnie?" she asked softly. "She saved me," the younger Dawn said. "She said she's from the future, maybe an alternate one, but she was mumbling stuff." "What happened to her?" Willow asked, frowning at the scars and the eye patch. "If she used something to travel back in time, it might have splintered her timeline, but not erased it. That's just a guess. I mean, she's still here. Honestly, I'm at a loss. We'll have to research this back at the magic box," Giles said. "For now, we need to take her to your home, Buffy. Let her rest, then get some answers. My first question, why is she still here if the key left her system? Second, why did it leave? And third, why was she sent back in time at all?" "Whatever happened was bad, Giles," Buffy murmured, staring at the scars. "Really bad." To be continued.